The movie opens up with a couple, college students James and Petra, enjoying quality time together. Due to oversleeping, the next day, James arrives late at his philosophy class, just when his teacher Zamit is about to close the door. However, being the last day of their class, Zamit allows him in and starts discussing the thought exercises that he had taught them to survive in the modern world. One by one, the students recall the challenging exercises which they learnt throughout the year. One of the exercises includes the theory that if a monkey is given a typewriter and enough time to type a book, one day he will definitely type the whole book. But if that monkey's name is George R.R. Martin, those books are never coming out. Following this, Zamit informs them that before they depart, they will indulge themselves in one last thought exercise. In this exercise, the students have to organize their thought process when the whole is suffering from an atomic cataclysm. In a flash, the scene changes to their experimental place, where atomic bombs are being detonated in the distance. Soon, Zamit takes them to a bunker and informs them that it can only accommodate 10 people for the year. James suggests they all stay in the bunker, but Zamit tells him that the radiation outside will take at least 1 year to return to normal limits, and the oxygen inside the bunker cannot hold more than 10 people. Back in the class, Petra thinks that it is cruel to select 10 out of 21 candidates and leave the others to die in radiation. Hence, she decides to opt out of the experiment and prepares to leave. Surprisingly, Zamit stops her and threatens to lower James's academic grade if she leaves. Hearing this, Petra is compelled to stay for the thought exercise. After this, Zamit asks the students to choose from a list of cards in which their probable profession is written, based on which the students will select the worthy candidates to enter the bunker. For some reason, Zamit coughs badly when Petra and James select their cards from the box. As soon as the distribution of the cards is completed, Zamit inquires with the students about their professions. James is a farmer, while Petra is an engineer for the experiment. The scene again shifts back to their experimental site, where Zamit shoots one of the students when he discloses his profession as a poet. "There's a time and a place for poetry," says Zamit, "and this ain't it." Taken aback, Petra questions him for doing this, but Zamit defends himself by saying that a poet is of no use inside the bunker, and that he also saved him from being scorched by the nuclear radiation. Zamit is also part of the experiment, but his ability is hidden from the group, and it is up to them to decide if they want to let him enter the bunker. One by one, the students start mentioning their worth for being in the bunker, and how they can help others in need, followed by the voting to decide their fate. While selecting the last individual for the bunker, the group has to select between an opera singer and a Zamit, realizing that Zamit has some unrevealed ability, and that opera singing is the most annoying sound on Earth. The group decides to choose him over the singer. After the selection of the worthy candidates, the selected group takes 5 minutes to greet their other classmates. Moments later, when the selected candidates are sitting around talking, they hear gunshots. They run to the spot and are shocked to see that Zamit has killed all of the abandoned students. In particular, Petra is devastated, and she tells James that she does not want Zamit inside the bunker. Following this, James devises a plan and informs everyone to gather inside the bunker except Zamit. When everyone starts running towards the bunker, Zamit also tries to follow them. However, before he can enter, the group closes the door. Inside the bunker, everyone starts exploring the facilities, trying to find anything interesting. Later at night, when Petra goes to take a look at Zamit, she finds him in a very miserable condition because of the atomic radiation present outside. Before he collapses outside the door, Zamit shows a paper to Petra, which mentions that only he knows the exit code of the bunker. Soon, the entire group arrives, but they assume that Zamit was only trying to make them feel bad for leaving him outside. However, as they cannot open the door in the present, the group decides to endure the year and face whatever will happen afterwards. With this, the students start passing their days, using the help of just about anything that they can get their hands on. Meanwhile, Petra regularly visits Zamit's corpse outside the bunker and feels sad for whatever they did to him. The time inside the bunker is not easy or fun for the group. Rather, it is agonizing and frustrating, as they are not allowed to go outside and play. In the next scene, a year has passed inside the bunker, and the students prepare to leave. Unfortunately, they find that they need to enter a passcode to exit the bunker, and that Zamit was actually telling the truth. The group tries their best to break the glass of the bunker, but fails in every attempt. Eventually, all of them die, as the oxygen inside the bunker runs out. The scene scene then shifts back to the classroom, where Zamit tells the students that they should have thought logically before locking him outside the bunker. He also reveals that his real profession was the bunker builder, and because of this, he was the only one who knew the code to open the bunker. Today's lesson, class, is to always trust sus strangers. Following this, he again makes the group take part in the next thought exercise. The students are hesitant, but for the sake of their grades, they reluctantly agree. Next, the group is taken to a location where volcanoes are erupting everywhere. Zamit asks the students to look at their cards for information. After reading, the students find their professions. James is still an organic farmer, but is now gay. What? While Petra is an electrical engineer. Both of them are selected as worthy candidates to be in the bunker, and a few of the previous candidates are exchanged. This time, Zamit gets a spot because only he knows the code to open the bunker door. After a while, the selected ones rush towards the bunker, while the abandoned ones rush to get a car and leave the place. Unfortunately, when they try to drive away, a huge volcanic avalanche engulfs them. Later at night, when Petra goes to meet James, she is shocked to see him getting intimate with one of the boys. Devastated, she walks out of the room and sits on a couch. After some time, everyone is discussing how they can procreate and increase the human population. Each of them starts to choose their partner and goes to their room. Sadly, James cannot accompany Petra as he is gay. Because of this, Petra decides to select Zamit as her partner instead. She grabs his hand and takes him to the other room. 10 weeks pass by, but still, there are no signs of pregnancy within the bunker. Zamit then suggests that they should change their partners and try again. Someone needs to cancel this teacher immediately. However, one of the students, Bonnie, refuses his suggestion and states that he is always wrong. Hearing this, Zamit gets angry and leaves the room. After a while, he returns with a gun and points it at Bonnie. He then orders everyone to go out of the room except Bonnie. Despite Zamit's orders, Jack, who likes Bonnie, hides behind the door, and when Zamit is about to shoot her, he attacks him from the back. The two fight, and Jack somehow manages to stab Zamit with a pencil. Because of the injury, Zamit becomes desperate for revenge. He immediately heads out and opens the entrance door of the bunker. Sadly, the volcanic fire enters the place and kills everyone within seconds. Back in the classroom, James asks Zamit why he coughed earlier when he was distributing the cards to him and Petra. Zamit replies that he has a cold, but James is suspicious about it. Mentioning that he does not care about his grades, James pretends to leave the classroom, but just then he grabs Zamit's box and rushes outside. On opening the box, James learns that Zamit has been tricking him and Petra by tampering with their cards every single time. He returns to the classroom and confronts Zamit for his acts, calling it cheating. However, Zamit defends himself by saying that he was trying to prepare James for the real-world scenario, bringing him out of his privileged life. James still does not believe his teacher, so he suggests that they go through the third round of the thought exercise. The whole class also agrees, and Zamit is forced to comply. In the following scene, the group again arrives on an imaginary island that is going to be attacked with nuclear bombs. As soon as they reach there, Zamit goes to the bunker to do a quick inspection of the place. Inside, he grabs a gun for himself and hides the rest. He hears a voice inside the bunker, but does not pay much attention to it. Once outside, Petra goes to Zamit and gives him a warm hug, mentioning that all of them have been hard on him. Petra then approaches the group and asks them to trust her, as she is going to select the candidates this time. Everyone agrees, and the selection begins. Surprisingly, Petra goes against Zamit's suggestions and starts choosing individuals who might pose a risk or lack technical expertise, such as an opera singer and a poet. Petra excludes herself and selects James to fill the last spot for the bunker. Zamit mentions that they will not remain alive, as the group she selected has no expertise to prepare anything. However, Petra defends herself by saying that the group can at least enjoy their time while inside. Those artists are bound to make some babies. Enraged with her choice for not including him, Zamit reaches for his bag for his gun, but is surprised to not find it there. Petra then comes forward and tells Zamit that she took out the gun while they were talking to each other sometime before. Zamit takes the gun from her and points it at James to shoot him, but James is already holding a rifle, which Zamit hid while he was inspecting the place. The sound that Zamit heard while he was hiding the gun was James, who was keeping an eye on him. Zamit then reminds them that they will require the code to exit the bunker, and he is the only one who knows it. To his surprise, Bonnie, who also has an excellent IQ, recites the code for him. It turns out that she had seen Zamit using the code during the second experiment, experiment. Having no other choice, Zamit walks away. A while later, when Petra and the other unselected classmates also prepare to leave, she realizes that they do not have the key to the boat. Just then, Chip, one of the bunker candidates, tells Petra that he has the keys. When she goes to retrieve them, Chip cleverly pulls Petra inside the bunker, steps out, and closes the door. After this, he runs towards the boat with his other friends and tries to reach the nearby island before the nuclear bombs are dropped. Inside the bunker, the group enjoys their time by painting, singing, and doing all the things they like. James expresses his love for Petra, but for some reason she cannot return the sentiment. After spending a whole year of fun and creativity, the group steps out of the bunker and is shocked to find the island still in its original state, without any nuclear attack. Despite Zamit's narration that they would all perish, since none of them have the technological abilities to survive, they have come this far. However, since all their supplies have run out, they don't have much time to live. Moments later, a nuclear warhead lands on the beach. As the group has already enjoyed a full year, they're ready to embrace death. James makes his way to detonate the warhead, but just then, a barbaric-looking Zamit arrives with his gun and tells James to step away. It turns out that he lived in a nearby cave for the entire year. He threatens to shoot James and kill him, but surprisingly, the other survivors stand in front of James. After this, the group detonates the warhead together, and everyone is killed. The scene shifts back to the class, where Zamit mentions that the most recent exercise was unpleasant. Everyone departs when the lesson is over, but Petra stays behind and accuses Zamit of trying to punish her and James with the exercise. James, in Zamit's opinion, does not deserve Petra. Here, it is revealed that Zamit has been having an affair with Petra, and during the whole exercise, he was just trying to punish James. Petra tells Zamit that intelligence isn't the only factor to consider when it comes to survival and satisfaction. She then tells him that she loves James and leaves the classroom. The movie ends with Zamit sitting by himself in the classroom, contemplating different thought exercises like before. Eventually, he reaches into his drawer for a revolver, and a gunshot can be heard. Whoever wrote this movie has some issues that they need to sort out.